Welcome, everybody. Oh my God. It's the end of the year. It is the end of getting toward the end of 2020, and we, the Pod Squadron, are here for you. Woo! Do we have a lot to talk about? Yes. It's not a lot of different things. It's pretty much one thing. Mandalorian season 2, but we're going to get into that really quick. Just want to thank everybody who's here, the production staff in the back, Rodney, Mike. Thank you for all your work. And let's start off with a few little quick introductions here. We have director, fight choreographer, performer, puppeteer, and the Chinese pirate, Andy Lowe. How you doing, Andy?
Greetings and salutations.
Also, we have writer, blogger, and occasional cosplay artist, the one and only hot nerd girl. How you doing, Tracy?
That's me. I thought you were doing Hi, everybody. Woo!
And also we have the performance artist, aerialist, and events designer and coordinator, the kaleidoscope creature, Lexi Lee. How are you doing, Lexi?
I managed to mop up my tears long enough to put makeup after this episode. Oh,
man.
Yeah.
It is definitely lovely to have you all back again, be together with you guys. It's definitely lovely to have everybody here in Twitch and on the interwebs who's checking us out. We want to thank you for joining us. This is the show for all things Star Wars. We go over the movies, TV, animation, games, trading games, the card games, the books, themed parks, everything. We cover all of Star Wars from what we think is a very unique perspective, and we want to continue to do that more and more for you, even after 2020 finishes up. Because 2020 didn't kill us, because this has been giving me, and I know the others, life. So, real quick, just how's everybody doing? I mean, I know we're in the fields, but how are we doing? And Andy, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Actually, I'm going to show off. I've got a new T-shirt, which I'm enjoying, celebrating my combined love of themed entertainment and Disneyland with my Star Wars fandom. I have the
Fashion show.
The Order 66 T-shirts done in the
Club 33
of Club 33.
Yeah, cool.
And it does have a little clone trooper head in here.
But wait, is Order 66 something you really want to be like excited about?
I mean, New Orleans Square has a lot of ghosts, right? I mean, I figure it's like kind of the counterpoint to. I also have a Grim Grinning Jedi T-shirt with 3 glow in the dark Jedis that are doing the hitchhiking ghost pose.
That's clever. I love mashups.
How are you doing, Tracy?
How am I doing?
Yeah, how are you feeling? I mean, we're getting into the final end of the year. I'm just checking in with everybody before we start the roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get through this episode incident free. I feel like 2 weeks ago my hand started bleeding randomly, and last week I had a migraine, and this week I'm feeling much better. So, go team.
Yay.
I'm excited about 2021. I'm excited about getting hopefully a vaccine and getting back to some comic book conventions and stuff. So, but yes, this is giving me life. I actually put this in my Christmas letter that I was like, this is compensating for not being able to go to conventions. It's scratching my nerd itch.
That's right. And Lexi?
Oh, I'm in between my holiday job and my next job right now, which I'm not even sure what that is. I'm talking to my rep about my next assignment, and hoping to get my aerial rig back up now that the winds are kind of calming down, and that'll be really great. Be great to do that. Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, everybody, we thank you once
Benja,
again.
how are you doing?
I know. Oh, how am I doing? Oh,
yeah. Yeah, you're not getting out of this.
I couldn't sleep. I don't know. I was in my feels so much. I couldn't sleep last night, and then I woke up. tried to eat some of the sweet Grogu Nugget cereal that I have, my Mandalorian cereal. And then I started watching the episode again, and then I tried to go back to sleep. It just didn't work out. So I've been up, but I got a little bit of sleep here and there, just not all at once. But I'm doing good.
Did you maybe have a little bit of the Calvin and Hobbes like chocolate covered sugar bomb effect though?
I have a natural high, Andy.
I need 5-hour energy in my veins.
I'm basically just nocturnal, so by the time this rolls around, I'm finally functioning.
Also, before we get into it, that's how we're doing. But if you want to keep doing well, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. That's the other one, and all of the other any of the other channels that you may want to find us on, especially for podcasting. If you just want to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, any of those formats, you should be able to find us. If you cannot, be sure to let us know, and we'll have to call them and send a stern letter to their management, because we want everybody to get in on the podcast, and that's been up and working. So make sure that you get on with those channels. And for all of you on Twitch, we do appreciate your support that you've been giving us. Call us out in the comments. We'll definitely respond, and do what we can as the show goes on. We want to make this an interactive thing. So we definitely thank everybody on Twitch for being here with us live. So with no further ado, I'm sorry for all of that. I'm just in my feels, as I said, because this thing is crazy. But one more thing before we do it, we want to get to a couple news items really quickly. Andy, what do we have?
Well, really just kind of one news item. And it's really just, this hits a little harder just in light of the year. And we've lost some people this year, and we've lost another person that's had a big impact on Star Wars. So Jeremy Bulloch, who was the original physical performer who originated Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, passed away this past Thursday, December 17th.
Yeah, he was 75, right? I think.
Yeah. I mean, he had a great storied career back in the UK. If you're a Doctor Who fan, he appeared in two episodes from the classic series.
Which episodes?
I didn't know that.
I believe it was the Space Museum and the Time Warrior. He was.
That's got to be Fifth Doctor.
I am unsure. Actually, I'm only a modern Whovian, so I defer to you.
I'll Google it.
Indeed.
Fourth or fifth, one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? So we've lost other Star Wars actors we've lost this year. We lost David Prowse, of course, who was the physical performer for Darth Vader. Max von Sydow, who was Lor San Tekka in Episode 7. Of course, Grant Imahara, from you might know him from Mythbusters, but he was also one of the robotics professionals who helped control R2-D2 throughout the whole prequel trilogy.
He was way too young.
Yeah, I mean, and just such a great representative and geek,
and
one
nice
of us.
Guy, from what I've heard, that he was a genuinely nice person.
Yeah.
Never met him, but.
One other person who we lost this year, who people might not remember, was a Star Wars performer, Wilford Brimley, who people might remember from Cocoon, or just about every movie in the 80s.
Diabetes.
Right? Diabetes. Yes. But he was in the Ewok movies. He was in Ewok Battle for Endor. But yeah,
with Fanula Flanagan, right?
Yeah. So rest in peace. They will all be missed. They will all be glowing blue figures in our hearts and minds.
I wondered who that was when I ate my Quaker Oats cereal. I think you would appreciate that joke. I'm sorry.
I think so too.
He did a lot of Quaker Oats commercials. That's actually where I know him from, the Quaker Oats guy. Amazing. So yeah.
He was kind of America's grandpa for like all of the 80s, right? Except for like one movie where he played a bad guy, and it was so weird.
No, he definitely had that kind of figure to him. And it's just interesting. You know, time is passing, and there's so much Star Wars time and history. You know, I don't even think about it, but this franchise has been with me literally all of my life, and same for all of you. And it's just kind of amazing that we're now here, you know, passing the torch. You know, Andy, to use your phrase, you know, is the handoff to a new generation. And we're watching everything kind of evolve and grow. And this show is a major point in that. People are going to look back and see The Mandalorian. They're going to see the Disney Plus streaming effort as something completely new and a changeover, and a good one at that. So I'm very happy to be a part of this, you know, passing of the torch, or whatever you want to call it, old guard, new guard kind of thing. People have been talking about that transition for a while, and I think we're really starting to see and understand what this could be right now. And very importantly, with this episode of The Mandalorian and the season. In fact, we should go ahead and get into it. We should go ahead and say that from now on, we might have some spoilers, right?
We'll get
can we talk spoilers now?
We'll get through the synopsis, and then we'll get to spoilers.
Brain capacity is waiting, so chop chop.
Oh, I know. Well, hold on. I had to say that because some people just kind of spit out a little something here and there that, oops, you know, I didn't mean to say that. You know?
Wait. Before
she
you
was
even get
under
started,
duress, she had a migraine, you know.
what did I do when I had a migraine? I take responsibility for nothing when I have a migraine.
What did I do? No, you know, we just want to make sure that I don't want anybody to go right up to the very edge of spoiler warning and then be like, oh my God, they said.
Oh, yeah, that was the migraine. So before we get into the synopsis, we took bets last week on what the runtime was going to be.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
And I already know that I lost. Yeah.
So was the official, now when we count runtime, do we count like the official full length of the show with credits and intro, or is there some place where you get the...
No, when you press play and it shows the amount of time.
It shows you, what it,
Okay.
Especially since it had an end credits scene.
In that case, I tip my hat off to Andy. Otherwise, I would have gotten closer.
Wait. So what was the actual final count?
It was 46 minutes, I believe.
46?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I believe it was 46 minutes.
Like 46 and change.
Tracy came in. Tracy said 56 minutes.
Was I last? I think I was
Lexi
last.
said 50. Lexi said 52 minutes. I said 43 minutes and thought I was on the money because I'm clairvoyant. But Andy came in at 48 minutes, which was 1 minute closer than mine. So Andy gets the prize for this episode.
I win a no prize.
Did anybody say 46 minutes in the comments last week? If you did comment and let us know.
Actually, speaking of the comments, before we get into this, do we want to check?
Be sure to comment and to follow us. Be sure to comment and follow us. But see, he already said the things.
Yeah, he said the things. Okay, never mind.
But subscribe.
I missed it. Okay.
If you subscribe, then you get email notifications that we're going to be going live, and that's very helpful. That I find. So
that's right. He already said that. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Hit subscribe, smash that bell. You know how the YouTubers say. All that.
All right. Shall we get started?
Woo, go ahead, Andy. Drop the synopsis on us. Let's have it.
Start our engines. All right. Chapter 16, The Rescue. The Mandalorian Din Djarin has sent his sent his warning off to Moff Gideon after ascertaining the location of his Arquitans class command cruiser in a daring operation infiltrating an Imperial Remnant mining operation on the planet of Morak. Assisted by ex-rebel shock trooper and current Marshal of the New Republic, Cara Dune, and an ex-Imperial...
Don't choke up yet, sir.
COVID!
Are you crying? Don't cry yet, Andy.
Hang in there.
I'm so emotional.
Hang in there, buddy.
Ex-Imperial ISB sharpshooter Fennec Shand and the infamous underworld bounty hunter Boba Fett. Din Djarin must finish assembling his team of unlikely partners unified by a singular cause, defeating Moff Gideon and rescuing the child. The mysterious Grogu, whose link to the Force and the ancient Order of the Jedi allowed him to send a call out to any other Force user who might hear him and become his teacher. As lines are drawn and Din Djarin's ability to lead this ragtag team of former enemies is challenged, his connection to the child now lies at the center of a struggle making them both unwitting players to the fate of the galaxy.
Bum, bum, bum.
Got a little extra dramatic with that.
It's all good, man. This episode was extra dramatic. So first off, I got to say, when I started into this episode, I try to do something where, I don't know if you've ever seen art critics do this, where they look away or they look into their arm for a couple minutes and then they look up at the painting and just like want to take it in pure. So that's what I did with this one. And they came at me so fast. I mean, they jumped right into the action, guns blazing, literally, blam, 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 right off the bat. We had, the chase sequence set up. And when you start out like that, you're in for a ride. General sentiments, I loved this episode, but there's a but. I didn't know exactly how I should feel about it for a couple of reasons. And I'm going to get into it as we break down each of the separate parts, but it was interesting. Andy, you and I talked about this a little bit, but I want to hear like general feelings about this episode. Let's jump over to Lexi. How did you feel about it?
Well, I think from like my earlier comment, it's pretty obvious that I was like very, very emotionally affected by this one. Oh, I mean, not just because it was like the last episode of the season, but it brought some character arcs full circle that just really resonate with me personally. Really, yeah. A lot of good one-liners. A couple of things that I've watched it 3 times and I'm like, I'm still not sure how I feel about one or two little parts. A couple of decisions that were made, but I'm really excited for a lot of what they set up for next season. I'm very excited for a lot of the plot lines that they've put into motion and where they've left the characters, because they've taken a lot of these characters from where we met them and taken them through a full character arc. So now we're going to get another set of character development arcs that are another probably 2 seasons long, I'm hoping, if they do it similar to what they just did.
This is the new way of storytelling to me. So I think we're definitely going to see more of this. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that something, Tracy, that you thought as well, just in general, kind of it worked for you?
Oh yeah. I think,
Did you cry?
I feel, I did cry. I was told that I was not going to cry and they were a lying liar who lies because I did cry. And then the second time I watched it with my mom and she started crying, which made me start crying again. So it was just a lot of tears. But I guess we'll get into that later. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I was wrong about so many things, but I was mostly right about the Super Friends. It just wasn't as many Super Friends as I thought were going to get together. But I don't know what I was.
They traded out one very important Super Friend for more super.
Wow, but wait a minute.
It was also super femmes, which like.
That's
Oh my
true.
god, the girl power. Oh my
They
god.
Girl power.
Casually but definitively made his like fire squad all women, like obviously, and then Moff Gideon's even like, yeah, this is like an impressive team you have.
Oh my gosh! And when they went over the sides of the bridge,
off the side.
Oh god, yeah. No, I'm all about the girl power. I know people criticize that scene in Avengers Endgame when it's like she's not alone, but me every time I see that I'm like, woo! So I love it.
But that said, too, right? Like this is very much doing that. The scene is doing the same thing that scene is, and they didn't ham it up, right? Which was
that's true.
Also,
it was a different approach.
It's a different approach.
What made it effective?
Right.
To me, because it wasn't necessarily about them being women. It's just that the toughest guns he could pull out also just happened to be for women.
And who needs axe woves anyway?
Yeah.
In the broader
how did we
picture
spell his
too,
name?
though,
I lost that one.
I mean, in the bigger picture, though, right? It's like this is cumulative, right? I mean, it does show kind of where we're coming. It's like Endgame was a year ago, 2 years ago,
probably 2.
Right? I mean,
2. Yeah. It had to be 2 years ago.
So it's like, I mean, this is increasing, and culminate. One builds off of the other, right?
And unlike superheroes, and like Marvel does Disney Marvel now, like they're doing a pretty decent job. But unlike a lot of female superheroes, this troop of 4 women in Star Wars haven't really been sexualized by their costume design or anything at all, or the way that the camera follows them. They're not. Yeah, they're not there to be eye candy. I mean, they look great, but they're not there to be like titillating.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a big deal. That's a big deal as well.
One of my biggest pet peeves in the entire world is when female superheroes are wearing high heels while they're doing everything. Drives me nuts. Or even any action movie when they're wearing high heels. I can't stand it. And so the fact that it
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And so like the fact that they're all just wearing like practical clothing and armor, it makes me happy beyond words.
Okay, do you give Wonder Woman a pass for her wedges?
No. No. It's ridiculous. I mean, hers are at least in the movies, hers are not too crazy. So and at least they're wedges.
Yeah, they're wedges. Which like that would make it like if you were going to say you must fight in heels, pick a type of. I'd be like wedges, short wedges. Yeah. But no, I would never fight in heels.
When I go to weddings, I will wear high heels for the ceremony and the cocktail hour, and then the second that's over, I put my flats on, and I always carry flats with me because you never know when the zombies are going to attack, and you're going to have to run, and I will not rerunning in heels.
Yeah, you can see for the zombie apocalypse, that's when you carry the big old heels so you can like flat and like throw them and give yourself some extra time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I once had the worst nightmare that I was getting married and the zombie apocalypse happened right then. And I was fighting zombies in a wedding dress with a candelabra. And I swore that any wedding dress I ever owned, it had to have a kick radius.
A slit.
I had to be able to
kick radius. It's fantastic. Nope. I hear that.
Yep.
But coming back to our awesome foursome there too, right? Rescue Squad. The other great thing too is that they're each like very distinct fighters, right? I mean, you have Fennec, who's already established as the sharpshooter of the bunch. You have Cara Dune, who's a shock trooper and has her heavy repeaters and is just like a bulldozer. You have our two Mandalorian warriors who are skilled and finesse and are like absolute team players. You know, I mean, I just loved kind of seeing the dynamism of their of like the diversity of attack patterns from each of them.
No, that totally worked out, I think. And speaking of just how we had the different women there together, it's like, how did they? I really liked in this episode how they really wrapped everything together very quickly, and they started out by giving them little team, a team task almost, you know, where you had first we have to get the doctor and, you know, the ship. And that was its own little thing. And in that scene, and for those of you who aren't following along, we're about to jump into spoiler land right here. So we're just going to start saying stuff. So be warned, spoiler warning, active.
This is your second warning. No complaints.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if you've been on Twitter, you should have gotten spoiled already, but you know, that happens.
Ooh. One quick other fight thing that we have to comment on is that Sasha Banks also got to sneak in her signature throw in the bar brawl there.
Yeah. We're going
Speaking of the bar brawl, I loved the visual of Din Djarin and Boba Fett walking into that bar because it brought it full circle from the first episode where you've got like the lone Mando walking into the bar and you see him silhouetted, and it came full circle aesthetically.
And they were in step with each other.
They were in step, yeah. And yeah, there's just like the show just keeps picking up more people in that Mando armor. Like now they're just I love the people. You could see the people like starting to trickle out of the bar.
Well, Mandalorians are so rare, you know, and to have 4 in one bar.
Yeah, they're like, shit's going down. But yeah, I saw there was like a good amount of people. I caught it. They were sneaking out as the conversation started.
That was a really interesting scene. Just by the way they played it, you know, you have 2 Mandalorians meeting up with another 3 Mandalorians and we don't totally understand if this guy's a Mandalorian or what he's claiming or who gave him armor. Anyway, it's just a thing. That scene was so interesting to me. Just how they met up and they've got a goal. You know, I need to get other people to go along with me to take on, you know, Moff Gideon and get the Darksaber back. And this moment of tension, it really hit me, of course, when Boba Fett starts speaking in the little truck stop bar area, and Bo-Katan looks up truck like, stop. What the hell is that I'm hearing? Hey, if you listen to the audio voice description, it says truck stop. Oh
no, that's place. Perfect. That's absolutely what it was. But yeah, no, continue your thought. Sorry.
Yeah, but just the way that they set up the group dynamic and the group tension, like, you know, Mando just wants to get, you know, his job done. Bo-Katan's like, who the hell is this, you know, guy with the dad bod and a Mandalorian outfit and what is that, a Tuscan skirt underneath? And she's just giving him this look that's like, what is this? And, you know, when he starts talking, of course, you know, she realizes he's a clone. They start back and forth. Just setting up this group dynamic that's not all together, but is still strong. I mean, they're all Mandalorians almost. Was just great to me. I don't know. Were you guys still confused a little bit about where Boba Fett stands in the Mandalorian kind of vibe? Because he was dodgy with his words again.
You know, I mean, for me, I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, actually, this scene to me was kind of like the pinnacle of just an example of how well written this episode was, right? Because kind of, you know, like you're saying, it's like you have a little bit of interaction with each of these characters, but we are completely reintroduced to these characters. Like, you could come into this episode having not seen any of the previous episodes, and you know exactly who these characters are and who they are to each other and what makes them different, right? Bo-Katan is clearly like the strategist and like the leader and like the calm head. Then you have like the natural leader, who is Din Djarin, who's kind of the heart and soul of this, right? And then you have Boba, who has his own rules and is a little antagonistic, and then you have Casca Reeves, who's just like, fuck y'all. Also, and with
the tornado DDT.
Yeah, the tornado DDT. Looks like we also have a comment from Tarn Solo. My 11-year-old daughter loved that it was a girl squad.
Oh,
yeah,
and Josh wants to know, when does Bo-Katan show up in the animated shows?
Season 7, I believe,
of Clone Wars. Right?
Let me double check that.
That far in? Wow.
No, it's sorry.
No,
it's sooner.
It's
sooner.
Than it's like fourth.
Sorry, it's much sooner. It's much sooner. Appearances. Hold up, I can find this. I can answer this. Internet's really cool.
While you're looking for that,
friend in need first.
Wait, what is Tracy doing here? Hold on. She
Refill.
just cracked
she's cracking the beer.
Andy, were you the one who said season 4? Who said season 4?
I guessed
Clone Wars.
4.
You guessed season 4. You guessed correctly. It was season 4. So she appears in season 4, and she, goes through the end. And no, I thought what I thought was particularly clever, just to kind of point to what you said, Andy, supporting the well-written comment, was, as you said, Din Djarin being the heart, Bo-Katan kind of being the head, and her ability to use diplomacy, because even though they're kind of like ribbing Boba Fett and being like, you're not a real Mandalorian, like you're not what we consider a real Mandalorian, all these things, at the very end of it she's like, look, if we had shown half that much spine, we wouldn't have lost our planet. She kind of just says it to all of them, doesn't exclude any of them, even though she just shot down Boba Fett pretty hard. She still kind of includes him in that umbrella, which is like a very smart diplomatic leader move, where she's like, okay, like I'm not gonna be like our planet except you. It's not your planet,
It kind of echoed.
I love her. I love her barb to him.
Oh, the donor barb. She called him a donor.
The donor.
Your donor.
I've heard your voice. I've heard your voice 1,000 times. Yeah, what were you going to say, Tracy?
I was going to say, it kind of echoed to me Luke going into, or Luke and Obi-Wan going into the bar in the cantina in Mos Eisley and being told that, the droids weren't welcome when they came up to Bo-Katan, and she's basically saying clones aren't welcome. Didn't it feel like that to you? I don't know. That's kind of what I felt like. And it's always in a bar.
I thought it worked out pretty well. As I said, I like that scene. The only thing I had a problem with is power levels, and I didn't think Boba Fett should have had as much trouble with a sidekick that he did after going through that badass episode and having a TV show coming up. He kind of just gets thrown to a table and ends up on his knees, 1-to-1 fighting, with the flame at the end, where it's kind of a draw. Minor quibble, but it worked out.
I mean, to me, it was kind of like that was done purposefully to show, like, they are all equally matched, right? We've established power levels for Boba Fett, and now we can kind of use Boba Fett as our meter for where everyone else is at.
That's how I.
He got tornado DDT'd. Wait, Need in the
she's younger and quicker than him.
He couldn't pull her. He couldn't pull her forward. He got knee.
Oh,
in the
I love
stomach.
that. I love that actually.
Where
you see the tug of war.
Yeah. I don't know.
She's younger and faster than he is, to be fair.
Apparently.
Well, I mean, but I was gonna say there's no world, Star Wars or this one, in which that's probably not true. Like, she's younger and faster than him, so.
Well, she is a pro wrestler.
So if they're supposed to be proving that they're evenly matched, I think they did a good job of that. I kind of liked how alike they almost were as characters, and that's kind of why they set each other off.
Yeah.
So Ring Capacity is saying that he thinks that Bo needs her own show, but I think that season 3 is going to be very Bo-centric, right? Don't you think that now that Grogu is...
I agree.
Taking care of...
They have set it up.
Yeah, because he basically promised her, like, look, if we save Grogu, then I'll dedicate myself to your cause.
Yeah, they've already set up for there to be some kind of conflict with figuring out a way to get the Darksaber out of his hands, because we've seen a lot of big character changes from Din Djarin since the beginning of the series. But what I don't think we're going to see is I don't think we're going to see him want to step up and take a leadership role of that magnitude. I don't think that's what they're trying to build with the character. I could be wrong. No. But I don't think that's what they're trying to build the character to, and that doesn't seem like the kind of man he wants to become. But it seems like having that option now is going to be part of his journey, and how to pass the torch on in a way that preserves Bo-Katan's honor and kind of does give her that mandate.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they. In going into the scene after they've decided to, team up and, it's Mandalorians to the rescue, they kind of all teamed up. And then even in that group, he says, hey, I'm going to go in alone. And that was part of their plan. So he's already kind of staying separate from the rest of them, which was interesting. And
that's also, kind of like what we saw in the last Bo-Katan episode too, where the Mandalorians under Bo-Katan, they're strategic, they are conscious of each other, and they work in tandem, right? And Mando was like, remember just some of the shots where he's just kind of bewildered as they're working as a crack operation, and he's kind of like, I'm gonna run into all the bullets.
Yeah.
So Jason brought up a point that I didn't even think about before, and that was if Boba had been on the bridge when... Are we saying who the Jedi was? Can we say that it was Luke, right? Skywalker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just did. We're there. We did it.
Okay.
We ripped that Band-Aid off.
Oh yeah, we did, because we talked about the glove and the green.
I don't know. We didn't say the name, but we just ripped that Band-Aid off.
Everybody's watched it. We did 2 spoiler alerts. It's fine.
Okay. So what's the question?
Well, he didn't have a question. It was, or maybe it was a question, but he brought up a good point in that if Boba Fett had been on the bridge when Luke showed up, what would that have looked like? Because this is post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Boba Fett would have lost his shit and he'd blow the whole thing.
Very strategic writing. Good job, guys.
Put him in the cockpit.
But that's actually good strategic writing, as opposed to like Bo-Katan just not saying her plans up front. Like, it was like, well, here's this. And then, okay, fine, but then here's this. Okay, well, fine, but here's this. And like, look, saying I need to be the one that defeats Moff Gideon, but not saying why. I think that if she had said why, then Din would have not. Well, I don't know that he had a choice, actually, but that's a whole other thing.
I think that's what's so great about the writing. Again, it keeps coming back to it's such a well written episode.
Yeah,
that I honestly, I think even if he had known, I think that he would have avoided the fight if at all possible, like he did. But I think ultimately he would have been like, fuck it. Because he says at the beginning, my only priority is the child.
Yeah. And definitely following off of that, Lexi, going off of how it was written, if you have this team going in and Din says he's going to go in alone, then suddenly Boba's like, well, if you're going in alone, then, I can just go fly somewhere else to a intergalactic rest area and chill for a bit because I have no allegiance to Bo and the rest of her, Mary
He had to pick up Fennec Shand at some point.
Well, yeah, he had to come back, but, but yeah, the whole leaving part, when I'm watching it, it made total sense to me because, if he said he's going to go alone, then I don't need to be involved. I mean, it was just a number of reasons for him to bolt off and not hang around too much after he dropped everybody off. It wasn't as much of his fight. So, there was that.
Right.
And then
question.
Wait for the single.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Question, Lexi?
Oh, I was saying, we got a question about, do we think Mando is going to ditch the helmet now?
Yeah.
So I have thoughts because the thing is, right? I mean, this is the kind of the cool thing of where we're at now, right? Is that because he has the Darksaber, he is technically the Mandalore by all Mandalorian creeds, right? He has earned it in combat.
The ultimate, the Mandalorian.
But he is also a child of the Watch, and he follows an extremist, zealot creed. And then you have Bo-Katan, who is the rightful heir and is storied in the mythology and understands the importance, she is pulled to it as a cause, right? So that kind of gives us a really interesting possible dynamic for season 3, where you have Bo-Katan basically playing, playing My Fair Lady to Din Djarin and teaching him how to be a proper Mandalorian, right? And breaking him of his Death Watch training, which then sets up the Armorer as the antagonist for next season.
Aha. I was gonna actually.
Cool.
Okay.
That would be a total thing.
But as a former Death Watch, Bo-Katan's probably the perfect person to ease him into a more centrist,
moderate,
way of being a Mandalorian.
I don't think he's going to ditch the helmet on a regular basis, but I think it'll be a thing where when he's around people he's very comfortable with, he might not wear it. We might get scenes where I don't know, maybe he maybe he and Cara Dune talk plans over an actual dinner and we actually get to see them talk, because she's already seen it. Maybe the people who were in that room, he's like, well, you guys have already, but I saw that helmet as a metaphor for his ability to be vulnerable, which
Absolutely.
At the very beginning of the series was not at all. And now he knows how to be vulnerable, but also when it's worth it to, when the right time is to be vulnerable, when it's going to move him forward.
And I want to see Pedro Pascal's face more.
Which, speaking of, why do writers keep trying to mash his pretty head?
I know.
Smash his head in the face. Stop.
Fighting with the spear, getting his head mashed in. I know.
All right. So
okay, wait. Do we want to get into the? Okay, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, we'll jump into more speculation. We'll jump into more speculation at the end.
At least this time he kept his face.
But yeah, that's a good point. After they made their raid, here come the Dark Troopers. The Dark Troopers that we've been hearing about.
The Terminators and their T-1000 move.
Oh yeah, coming through the door like that. I thought that was another interesting setup. Only one of them makes it through, and the rest of them get shuffled out through the airlock or whatever. Cold storage that just happens to have a ditch. Actually, that would probably be a good move from Moff Gideon. It's like they ever go crazy, just pull the switch and they all get blown out of the hatch.
That's just probably how they get loaded in too. So it would make sense for it to have an emergency release.
Oh yeah, but so now we've got these Dark Troopers. I was actually not that impressed with the Dark Troopers. I didn't like the way they played them. I wanted them to be a little more menacing, but I don't know. Maybe it was the direction. I couldn't figure it out. I was talking to Andy about this a little bit earlier, just in messages, but I couldn't figure it out. There was something that didn't catch right with me with them. What were you saying, Andy?
I mean, okay. I know what you're talking about. I felt like he really played them for tension, right? It's like we've seen droids that can problem solve and think through problems much faster than these droids. But the fact that they literally just kind of stop. I mean, they're almost like Cybermen, to go back to Doctor Who, right? But it's like they stop at the door and then they think about it for a second and then they put their gun away. So it's like, and so for that, like that's effective for building tension. Mm-hmm. But yes, it did make them feel a little rudimentary compared to all the battle droids and security droids we've seen.
Caponis is saying that they were too droidy and they needed to be more humanoid. Do you think that's what it was that was missing?
I mean,
well, for me, I thought it was. I just thought they weren't. They didn't have enough of a presence of danger. I mean, the first one we saw. I mean, aside from all the fact that they all got blown out the hatch, you were kind of like, oh, come on, is that it? Then you get to see the one, fight against, Mando. And the fight was cool and everything. I can't really
like that it was kind of dirty. Like it wasn't like a perfect fight. Like unlike when Luke came and just sort of wiped them all out.
Well, no, I definitely didn't want that. That wouldn't give any attention to them.
And if Luke hadn't showed up, they would. They would have decimated.
Yeah,
everybody on that bridge.
They didn't have enough Beskar spears to take out that many Star Troopers.
I just the sequence that made them work for me was just the head pounding. Everything else was kind of like, it was played very much like a Terminator fight, right? Where it's methodical and it's coming for you and it's unstoppable. But it is more of a monster behind the door trope, right?
They bang on doors very loudly.
Do you think that their armor is made of Beskar? Because he was having a hard time even with the spear. It wasn't until he got under the neck.
I don't think so because of how easily the lightsaber went through them.
I saw that too. I mean, we did.
That's true. Duh.
We do see some blaster bolts bounce off of them, but yeah, I don't.
They could just be, and that could also have to do with their design and why they're so clunky, which could be that they just have really thick armor.
Kind of like
maybe they're Durasteel.
Like iron,
yeah.
Like whatever Iron Man's made out of.
Yeah.
Or like Din's original armor.
Say that is. Yeah.
Before he got the Beskar, because that's obviously much less penetrable than the trooper armor that just like shatters.
Yeah.
Not only did they have badass armor and almost vibranium class, defense there, they had a badass Skrillex inspired soundtrack that I thought it was. Thank you for reminding me of that one, Rodney. I was waiting for the beat to drop.
I can tell. I was like, oh yeah. Now I could tell that their composer's a USC kid. Because this guy just threw trap into Star Wars. He just threw trap into the Sar Wars standard. All right.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
Anybody who's not in Southern California is not going to understand that reference.
The dubstep is strong with this one.
I was very specifically. I was like, "That's some trap in there. That's some filthy space trap."
Space trap. Kind of to go with your space waffles, right?
So we got a comment from Paul Jr. 77 saying, "Hell, they were practically unstoppable until Luke got there." I'll take that. I said it's just a personal thing. They didn't. In fact, I'll get to this in a little while. The whole show didn't have as much gravitas to me for some reason, even though I was I was welling up in tears and I was hyped about it. I did want to put that out there, which is an interesting feeling to have after it was over, mainly because of, and I think it may have come down to just the direction. But that's another story. Thank you, Paul Jr., for that one.
I mean, yeah, this is something that I was talking about too, was just that, like, I did, don't get me wrong, I love the episode. There were so many great elements. I had to think about it for a while, but like, I do feel like I was cheering for fan service, performances of individual actors, and the story and the writing. But there were some ways in which it was shot or framed or edited that I just wanted a little more oomph. And I still can't quite put my finger on it. But
is there a scene you have as an example at all?
Okay, so like, yeah, like, I mean, talking about, okay, kind of pushing our conversation along here too, like getting to the Beskar spear fight with the Darksaber, right? The choreography was really cool. The way it was shot was not very dynamic. And that is not to say that, like, I hate shaky cam stuff. Like, that drives me nuts because you can't see the movement.
Oh, yeah, it gives me a headache.
It's awful. Yeah, don't get me started on Iron Fist. That's a sore spot I need to recover from.
So this is much better than yes.
This is much better. But no, I mean, yeah, it's like, like when I think of really good choreo, your cuts match, your edits and your cuts kind of match the impact, and it follows the energy. Or like, the comment that I was saying to Lexi earlier tonight was, I was kind of flashing back to when I was a kid and thought I might be a comic book artist. And I'm reading all the Byrne Hogarth books and, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by, Romita Jr. and all that, right?
Yeah,
and there is something to, like, a dynamic frame of choosing your angle or choosing the pose of how you frame the action and how you frame the performer. And I just wasn't quite feeling, or even like the scene where we, this incredibly emotional scene, and when we see Mando take his helmet off, and yes, we want to be focused on his pain and the child's pain, but you also experience other people's pain through the reactions of others. So even if you had a tiny little cutaway to Bo-Katan, go, oh my God, he took his helmet off. Oh, there's, right?
They cut to Cara Dune once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They cut to her because I don't think Bo-Katan had her helmet off.
Yeah.
Because they were all ready for, like, they didn't want him to open the door to the Jedi. They still were at the point where I don't think they trusted the Jedi. So I think the only person who had a face to react with was Cara Dune, and I do think they did a little cutaway to her. I do think they did. I don't remember exactly if they. But I mean, maybe the timing of it wasn't as effective as it could have been, right?
But the child is also like after Din, the second most person he's attached to would be somebody like Cara, right? Mm-hmm. But can I tell you what took me out of that scene, as emotional as it was for me? The first thing I thought of was, okay, he took off his helmet. We don't see him drop it. We don't see him place it down. But yet when he puts Grogu down, it's perfectly placed on the floor. And that bothered me.
That's funny. Yeah.
Like, when did that happen?
Yeah. I was caught up in the moment, like they wanted me to, so I didn't even catch that one.
Yeah.
Now, what caught me though, and somebody said they were watching this whole thing on a really nice screen, and when they saw the X-wing fly in on the monitor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, where'd you go, Benja? It's tradition. Sorry, somebody injure me. Somebody injure me.
Let me know.
Oh,
he's
there
back.
you are. Okay.
Yes.
Back.
Oh my God.
All right.
The Force
So we heard the monitor, and then you blanked out.
Yeah. They showed the monitor and the X-wing flying in, some people said that they saw R2's head, on the X-wing.
Wow.
And they knew right then. But I was watching this whole build up, and I was thinking to myself, no, that wouldn't be Mace Windu. No, that wouldn't be Ezra Bridger in the X-wing. He'd have something else. And I just kept on going through my head like, they're not going to do this. Are they about to do this? And I just kept going back and forth and leaning closer and closer to the screen and, getting closer to the edge of my couch and just like, is this going to happen?
Yeah, I mean,
the moment that hit me,
for that matter, like the first time. Go ahead.
The moment that hit me was when I saw the lightsaber. I was like, there it goes.
Okay,
yeah,
is anybody else hoping for a scene where Grogu is on Luke's back and has to lift the X-wing out of the swamp?
Luke on Grogu's back.
That would be awkward.
So, Alexa, you made a face over there. How did this scene work for you? Just the whole build up to, is that an X-wing or an X-wing's flying in on the monitors, and then the cloaked guy without showing his face?
Hint, oh man! So the first hint for me was the music. Like I noticed music almost like first thing immediately in episodes. It's really present for me. And so one of the first things I noticed when they threw in the X-wing, and I was like, okay, the X-wing. We've already seen some X-wings in the series so far, so that it's been established as a pretty standard New Republic. Part of the New Republic fleet. So I thought, okay, so that there's a lot of people that could have got their hands on an X-wing. My eyesight was not good enough to catch R2. But what I did notice was the original Star Wars theme, the original like Skywalker theme that he just started to lace in there, and I went, what?
The Two Sons theme, yeah.
Yeah. And I went, oh, and then I'm going to watch, on the security screens. I'm like, okay, well, you can't tell what color that lightsaber is, but there's only one of them. So Ahsoka didn't change her mind and come back. Okay, so who could
actually? I mean, that was a brilliant thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a brilliant thing too, right? That you can see the saber, you can't see what color it is, because that's the question everyone is asking at that point.
And then when you see the black glove and the green saber, I was like, what is going on? Like I'm really glad that I have my own place and I'm not going to bother anybody, because my dog, I just kept looking at my dog. I was like, what is going on? What is happening? What is happening?
I was texting and going, it's a glove, it's a green saber.
I yelled at this episode like my cousins yell at Seahawks football.
Yeah, I was just on my couch yelling, no, yes, yeah, no, they didn't. I don't know what I was thinking, but I kept yelling no and yes back and forth, and I don't know if somebody heard me. The neighbors heard me yelling, but it was nuts.
And I knew what it was, and still when he did the whole reveal, I went, oh, like
I went, woo!
He's got a hallway scene just like his father.
I was yelling a lot this episode.
Do we think that Grogu and R2-D2 recognize each other because they were at the temple together?
That is now my headcanon, that R2-D2 is the one who rescued Grogu from Anakin.
As opposed to I'm still holding on to the librarian. But maybe, because how's R2-D2 going to get him out? He doesn't have with his
he's R2-D2. He's like the Swiss Army knife of the galaxy.
All Grogu would have had to do was climb on.
Hold on to his little thingy that breaks into things.
Yeah.
R2-D2 pops off his head and it becomes like the cradle, right?
Oh, he hides it like a Dalek.
Well, but here's the reason why it would have made sense is because like they could have hidden the information from everybody by erasing just that little part of information, like having R2 delete that bit of information.
Yeah.
So that Grogu's location really would be secure. So I mean, it checks out.
Because R2's the only droid, the only one who's never had that we know of, that's never had a memory wipe like C-3PO did, right? Who's been there through everything, who was with Anakin, remembers Anakin from all the way from when he was built, right? Or no, he built C-3PO, but R2-D2 was there.
I still feel like R2-D2 should be the Wills. I'm just saying.
The Wills?
The Wills, because like it's the Wills. The Wills are like the lore keeper of the Jedi, and so like the original title for episode 4 was the Adventures of Luke Starkiller.
Oh, wait, hold on, Tracy. You thought R2 was going to write out a last Testament?
I was thinking of like the name Will, and I'm going what? And I wasn't thinking
Will
of
Riker.
WHIL. Yes.
Will Wheaton.
Wheaton, the Whils. Yes, okay. I get it now.
Ring Capacity says, I can't believe we didn't find out why Moff wanted the midichlorians. I thought the Dark Troopers were going to be Force users.
I feel like that's going to... I feel like we're going to find out more about that with the Grand Admiral Thrawn arc.
I agree.
I feel like that might be tied up.
So now's a good time, I guess, to talk about what we. Yeah, I want you to continue, Lexi. I'm sorry, but now's just a good time to go into the speculation, what we think is going to happen, because there's a lot of ramifications in here. So I'm sorry about that, but just go on with what we think stuff might mean here, Lexi.
I hadn't. What do we think stuff might mean? Yeah.
Oh no, I thought you were going on speculation about.
No, I hadn't. I had literally like just that little thing that I said. That was it. I had that idea. Oh, there was one thing that a couple episodes back of the podcast, I'm kind of frustrated with myself for not airing this fan theory. It was the episode when we first meet Bo-Katan, and I went and we were talking about the Darksaber. We're like, okay, well that gives us a point of context for the Darksaber. Finally, what's it doing here? Why did it get dropped into the Mandalorian? Besides the obvious part that it's a Mandalorian artifact. All right, so now you have Bo-Katan. She anchors it. That makes sense. And we kind of talked about, so she's going to be continued in this plot because she needs to get her hands on the Darksaber. And then my thought was, but they're also setting Din Djarin up to duel him. And so my head went, okay, so we're going to have like a reluctant king kind of scenario here.
So you're saying you may have called it before. In
my head I went, but the way that they're setting it up, because of him, the way they're setting it up, he's going to be the one who has to fight Moff Gideon because Moff Gideon keeps coming for his kid. So that's the battle that they're setting up to happen. So he's going to have to go up against Moff Gideon, which means he takes the Darksaber. And knowing the legacy of the Darksaber, I went, that's going to set up issues because he's not going to want it. But Bo-Katan's like, I can't take it. She's going to be like, I can't take it. And that's exactly what I like. I didn't say anything. And now I just sound like I'm making it up.
Why don't they just get in a fight? And like she doesn't have to kill him, obviously, because he didn't kill Moff Gideon. So why don't they?
Because they're Mandalorians. They're like honorable.
I don't think the people would if he like basically set the fight and like lost on purpose, she wouldn't gain the respect that she needs.
No, but they don't have to. But they don't have to fight. Like they can fight to win. Like isn't that how they kind of like release sexual tension? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but she might lose.
Okay, so what if they do like a gladiator type situation and they throw Din in there with somebody else, and then Bo-Katan fights that person?
Like 1, 2, 3, not it.
Stories start to go around. People are like, "Hey, I heard Bo-Katan fought Din Djarin. Really? What happened? Din wasn't into it. It wasn't. I don't know.
Just kind of some gladiator shit.
Gave it to her, really? And I don't even trust her anymore. So you got to do it in the right way.
To answer Ring Capacity's thing, though, remember we do have Moff Gideon and Dr. Pershings are now in custody of New Republic Marshal Cara Dune, right? So I imagine they are not gone from the series. They're going to be Hannibal Lectering it up, you know.
Okay, yeah, definitely. There's going to be some action going on there.
R.I.P. Dr. Pershing's hearing. He has horrible tinnitus now.
Did they? He actually mentioned he was a clone doctor in this episode. I'm not sure if he did before.
No, he had the patch.
Yeah, this is confirming
he had the patch,
that.
but I'm not sure they actually mentioned it in story what he was.
So.
But anyway, what's curious to me is this season 3 that's coming up. Is this the Book of Boba Fett that's coming actually supposed to be what season 3 is, or I'm not sure we're getting 2 separate shows in December.
Yes,
that's what people are saying, but I'm not sure about it. Convince me.
I think they're going to alternate years.
Oh no, they're not alternating. It's a limited series. So like they're saying Boba Fett December. There's still 3 weeks in December before Christmas, which is when they said season 3 is launching.
Wait, so season 3 of The Mandalorian is coming out in December of 2022, and Book of Boba Fett is coming. No, Book of Boba Fett is coming out in December 2021. Season 3 Mandalorian is coming out in December 2022.
No,
what 21. I'm saying is season
it's
3 of The Mandalorian is the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Hold on.
Look it up.
Consult the Google. I swear to you.
Kathleen Kennedy said next Christmas in 2021.
Consult El Google.
Mandalorian season 3. Release date.
Oh shoot! Did we lose Benja again?
Release date. Why is it on Men's Health?
What?
That's the first article that came up with Men's Health.
It actually says, oh, never mind.
What was that, Benja?
No, I was about to make a Men's Health joke, but it's all good. No, I really think that the Book of Boba Fett is what they were talking about when they said Mandalorian season 3.
I
think they're playing funny with the wording there, intentionally.
No,
about next
2 separate shows.
Boba Fett arrives on Tatooine to assassinate Return of the Jedi's Bib Fortuna. The post-credit sequence says with the tease, Book of Boba Fett, December 2021. That will take the Mandalorian's 2021 time slot, pushing season 3 to 2022.
The Kathleen Kennedy at Investor Day said Christmas of 21 for Mandalorian season 3.
They also didn't announce the Book of Boba Fett at Investor Day.
Exactly, because they were saving this reveal for this.
No, I'm telling you.
The production schedules that were discovered a couple months ago was that Boba Fett was going into production now, which was pushing Mandalorian season 3 production to January.
So we're gonna have 2 shows at once? Nah, I don't buy that.
Not at once. It's a limited series, so it's 3 episodes of Boba Fett, and then you start your series of Mandalorian right after.
Okay. Well,
I heard that. I'm not okay. That could happen too. That could happen too.
I'm having a really hard time pulling it up, and I don't want to waste time. But we were going to investigate this.
Let us know what you think in the Twitch chat.
I will
comments.
bet you a whole $1, and that's my maximum bet.
I will see your $1.
Tracy, didn't you say 56 minutes? I don't trust you.
Oh, you hush. If I lose, I owe you $1. If I win,
The Mandalorian season 2 finale had so many spoilers that if we say it,
vegetarian ramen.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you something on Grubhub. How's that?
It's not the same. It's like it has to be fresh.
So, okay. What we'll figure that one out. I definitely felt more comfortable about Rangers of the New Republic after seeing everything that Cara Dune went through in this episode. Just her presence with the gun and her style basically contrasting with everybody else. I was like, okay, this could be a thing, and it could also be a way for the other girl power force to jump in. So I just thought that was interesting the way they played her.
I loved that. I don't know. I really loved that whole "my gun is jammed" bit.
Yeah.
And then when she swung it over and Fennec just like automatically ducked.
Yeah. What was the swear again? What was the new swear?
Oh, she did a couple of really good swears in this one. Actually, I wrote down 4 one-liners from this episode. It was filled with some good one-liners. I liked how Bo-Katan described their entrance as disembark with maximum initiative. Definitely going to be using that in real life now. I caught it the third time around, and I was like, that's a really cute way to put storming out in a rain of like laser and fire and like.
You had a couple one-liners.
So we had a real stank in the scud pie.
I love that.
Oh yeah,
incorporating that one into.
What is that?
I'm using that, and then yes, son of a mud scuffer.
yes,
Son of a mud scuffer.
and McClunky.
Oh, that's right. There was a
yeah.
McClunky.
They said
Yes,
McClunky.
thank you.
Oh, McClunky does actually have a meaning.
Oh, really?
Yes, it means this will be the end of you. And
Oh,
yes, yes, and the guy who was the pod guy for Anakin, Sebulba.
Oh, he says it?
He says it to Anakin.
Oh. I didn't
And
know that.
of course, in the Disney Plus version of A New Hope, Greedo says it. That's Greedo's last word, right? And then, are we talking about the end credit scene yet? We've kind of touched on it. We've mentioned it. So, and then Bib Fortuna, who's like slowly turning into Jabba the Hutt, says it, right? Did you notice that there was a bunch of people from Return of the Jedi in there, like the background singers and stuff, like the people who survived?
Yeah, the poofy hair girl who Boba Fett is rolling up on.
my fellow pink-haired diva.
Yes.
Oh, and then the last one-liner, way more serious, but I love that we got a Luke Skywalker quote out of this episode: "Talent without training is nothing."
Okay, so that's why I'm wearing what I'm wearing. Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm wearing my Yoda shirt, but I'm like pretending it's Baby Yoda, and then I'm wearing Rey sleeves because he says that, and I feel like it's a dig to future Rey because here she is. She's all talent with no training, and somehow is like a master Jedi.
Oh.
And honestly, Luke's kind of the same way. I mean, he had a little bit of training from Yoda and some wise words from Obi-Wan, but for the most part, he had to figure it out himself, right?
Self-taught, yeah.
And that was very hypocritical. So I decided to dress appropriately to call out that hypocrism.
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 Amen.
But as we know, what a great teacher is failure.
So this episode, actually, a lot of the second season reinforced one of my just like more cuckoo fan theories that I have going on in my head, which is that Grogu is Yoda's illegitimate kid. I don't care if it turns out not to be true. I'm really having fun arming my theory.
Yoda and Yaddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he's a clone, and that's why using his blood to try and make clones isn't working very well.
Ooh, maybe.
So when they try to combine,
like maybe he's like Yoda's little Boba.
Maybe, and that's why when they try to use his blood to incorporate with the volunteers, which I'm guessing are human, right? They're kind of turning out Snoke-like.
Right. So the timing's about right. Why would Grogu have been like spirited away in secret from the temple, like with as an exception to other younglings? You know, why was he given special treatment? And then the other thing that I'm like, okay, well, you have Yoda's last student, Luke, who is now coming into the picture. Of all of the Jedi that they could have brought in, they brought in, like, they were like, no, we choose this for so strong a reason that we're going to CGI Mark Hamill's face onto someone. And right? So like they obviously like felt very strongly about the need for it to be Luke. So that to me would make sense if he was paying special attention to. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, he could be completely unrelated, but the way that they have seemed to like making Star Wars characters related to each other and pulling out big family reveals and all of these things, I don't know. It wouldn't be the weirdest plot twist.
Fan service. It's funny. As much as I like this season, and we're going to get to the last couple plot threads that you can think about through the rest of the holidays. But yeah, there was just so much fan service. But it's like eating a bowl of whipped cream with nothing else. But it was good. But I don't know. So something's weird with this fan service, and I'm liking it, but I don't think I should like it this much. So they're doing something crazy with Favreau, Filoni, and maybe Lucas is calling in some things. I can't tell, but it's good. I like it. All right.
I mean, actually, really quickly, Benja. You were talking about offline. You were talking about what some people are calling the Marvelization of Star Wars, right? But I just kind of like pointing out that like Star Wars was doing this kind of multi-platform world building and storytelling, well before the Marvel Cinematic Universe was like, I mean, this goes back to like Shadows of the Empire, when you had books and video games and other media, comic books, toys that were all part of a unified storytelling initiative, right? And that's kind of the really interesting thing with this, is that we know we're going to get 3, possibly 4. I'm saying possibly because we're Tracy. Shows that are going to be intertwined and culminate, right? And that's building these characters out is part of that.
I got no arguments with that. I think you're on the money there. This is as we've discussed, this is a new way of storytelling, and it's a way you can storytell because you've got the internet, you've got all these different shows that you can automatically link things to. It's not just constrained to a few people who happen to know everything about every show and every book. Suddenly all of this stuff can connect in a much easier way just simply because of our communication means. So it changes everything about storytelling. And, I don't want to be Grandpa Benja here coming in. Back in my day, we used to tell stories like this. So when I say I like it, I'm just coming to understand that, no, this is the new way of storytelling, and I'm here for it. So I'm happy, but it's weird to me. Fan service. All right. So we've got a couple more minutes here. Let me run through these hanging plot threads that we've still got going on, and some things with the larger context that we're going to be seeing. And really quick, if you have any final questions, we may take a really juicy one that comes across the wire. But let's see. Some hanging plot threads. We still got the covert of Mandalorian in hiding, including the armor, obviously. Got Bo-Katan building forces to take back Mandalore and the Darksaber. She's not just going to give that up. Moff Gideon and the M-Count blood, we still don't know what's happening with that exactly. That's not got to do something with all that M-Count blood they took. And the New Republic and the core worlds, we don't know how they're going to interact with the Outer Rim and how all that's going to take place. But that is a great way to interlink everything else in the Star Wars galaxy with this show. Because the show, by the way, is the jump off for all other shows, in case you didn't realize what was happening.
And Pedro Pascal said that he fully expected to guest star on the other shows, too.
Oh, yeah. That's how you do it.
At least Ahsoka and New Republic.
If you look at it, he's kind of like the Iron Man of Star Wars. Think about that one.
Mm-hmm. In a very literal
and we
sense,
have
too.
The Beskar man.
Beskar man.
He's even got his little jetpack so he can fly.
Aww.
And he's protective of his kids.
Wait,
there we go. Yes, he is.
And we have Ahsoka searching out for Thrawn, so that's still happening. And yeah, we've got Bad Batch, the Book of Boba Fett. season 3, if it is in fact a separate thing, we'll argue about that later. Ezra Bridger, everyone keeps talking about him. Sabine Wren, Rangers of the New Republic coming through. A lot of different ways the story can go. We'll definitely be getting into that next year, talking about how all of this ties together, because the way they're going, it's definitely going to be, a rebirth of hashtag It's All Connected. If you don't know what that is, look it up. You'll be in for a treat. But let's see, what else do we have? And by the way, make sure you stay around for a little while, because we're going to be raiding Gary Whitta, the writer of Rogue One. He's got a Twitch stream going on, so we're going to raid his stream and jump over there. But Rodney had a question, and Rodney is our behind the scenes production guy, making sure everything happening and runs smoothly on this show, man behind Pan Geekery. He had a question for us. I want to make sure we get to that. What's going on, Rodney? Nothing's going on with Rodney. So
I was gonna type it.
Yeah.
I was gonna type it, but I'll go ahead and it's taking a little time to type. So I one last question for you guys. I guess this is the squadron questions section, right? But it's really for me. Is what do you guys think with Grogu seemingly going to be out of a season 3? Will the series still hold its charm? Do you think it'll be as successful without Baby Yoda or Grogu?
I think they're going to go back and forth between their stories a little bit. Maybe not every episode, but I think we'll get flashes of what Grogu is up to.
I think we will get Grogu mini arcs. They'll probably toss in little, because he says, "I'll see you again."
And maybe we can have Sebastian Stan play Luke.
I don't think anyone will like my answer. I think Grogu's story is done for now. I think he may guest star,
He's so popular,
later.
Though.
I mean, to me, this was like kind of one of the boldest things about this episode was that they did a Shane moment. I mean, the child's arc has ended, and they have set up a new arc for Din Djarin to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to show up in the other shows too.
Baby Yoda.
How does Grogu show up without Luke? And that becomes a weird thing to me in my head.
Bring in Sebastian Stan.
Luke Skywalker, not Mark Hamill. I'm just wondering how that story plays out, with Sebastian Stan Skywalker showing up. Because that changes the dynamics of everything. And I don't know that they want to do that. Maybe they do. Maybe we get to start seeing Luke hanging out, just being the teacher kind of person off in the sidelines. But from what I've heard from, developers, I remember J.J. Abrams talking about the fact that it's hard to bring new stories up if you keep referencing Luke, because that basically sucks all the air out of the room and it becomes a Luke story. So
okay, well, J.J. Abrams doesn't know he knows how to start a story, but not
wasn't The Force Awakens like your best? You were, oh my gosh. I don't understand you, Tracy. I don't understand you.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm referring to shows.
I'm saying nothing.
I'm referring to like Lost. I'm referring to other things, but yeah.
I have issues with how he wraps things up that I don't want to get into because that's encyclopedic. Like,
yeah, okay. So
we'll talk.
So yeah, Lexi, where does Grogu stand now? What do you think in the future? Is he still around or what?
I think his main arc has been wrapped up, but I don't think they're going to take him out of the picture entirely. Because I think fans will riot, and they're smarter than that. Like they have, like we talked about how they have been playing to a certain amount of fan service. I don't think he'll be central. I think that they're going to remind us, like this show is called The Mandalorian. It is not the Grogu show. and I think that it is a real, like it's a bold move on their part. But I think that they've given Din Djarin a lot to grow on and grow with, even if we don't see. We won't see as much of Grogu. And I think they were already preparing us that, because we had a whole episode within the last. Which episode was it? It was one of the last few episodes where we didn't have any Grogu at all.
Yeah.
That was really rare. They were preparing us, I think, in a way.
Once they put him in the napkin holder handcuffs, he was done. Sad but true.
So I think it might be, I think we might get to see. I think he'll cameo. I think they'll have him cameo, because his arc definitely. I mean, just him as a character, he's got so much left to do. Like, he's baby. He's got a whole life ahead of him, and he's going to realistically outlive all of the caretakers that he established in the first 2 seasons. Yeah.
How about this? So
you just blew Benja's mind.
Yeah. What you got, Benja? What you got?
That's interesting, because if you really want to take a jump into the future, you could jump 700 years into the future and have Grogu in the Yoda type
Master Grogu. Yeah.
Being like the ancient wise one who was like, yeah, man, I was laid out. I didn't have any blood. I could barely speak. I was laid out.
I was only 50.
And this crazy dude, and with the green lightsaber came through, and it was crazy, but I don't remember much. But man, it was tough back then. And, just telling old stories, and all of a sudden you could take a big future jump and link everything back to Grogu. Mm-hmm. That's what I was getting at. So
yeah,
blew my mind right there.
Okay, one stupid thing that bugged me. Grogu is leaving with Luke, and really they needed a moment where Din stops him and says, "Wait," and gives him the ball to take with him.
You're right. That was a missed opportunity.
Nope. They're gonna give that. She's gonna give it to him next season. She's gotta give it to him next season.
Oh wait, I have to find the Jedi again to give him back his ball.
He needs.
All right, speculation.
It'll be but I think it'll be like how they wrap up the encounter. It's like, oh yeah, here you go, kid. You know.
I identify with Grogu. I love a good ball.
Thread killer. That's what we used to call that when you made silence like that. We used to call that a thread killer. All right. Speaking of wrapping up threads, we really appreciate you taking this ride with us for these first 8 episodes, everybody. It has been a joy. We are not done, though. First of all, please remember to hang around. Once again, we're going to be rating Gary Whitta's Twitch stream after this, so please hang around to the very end. But I just wanted to make sure I thank everybody for showing up. And also shout out to Jay Bieber here. Not the Jay Bieber you're thinking, but a very popular one on our streams. He's still waiting on that Luke and Ahsoka meeting. Very true.
As are we.
Thanks, Jason, for all your support behind the scenes, by the way. But yes, make sure you continue this discussion with us. We're online separately, and we're also at Pod Squadron. So follow Pod Squadron on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You'll be able to just search Pod Squadron and find us. And also, if you're on iTunes or whatever your favorite podcast streaming service is, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, whatever, you can probably find the Pod Squadron. We're there, and we're going to be doing this every week, except
next week.
There we go. Thank you, Tracy. We will not be here next week. We will be online.
We all have to go back to Kashyyyk to celebrate Life Day.
Yes, exactly. We'll be celebrating Life Day, and hopefully you will be too next week. But we'll definitely be back in 2021, ringing in the new year with all kinds of observations, news that we didn't get to. We'll be doing some deep dives on characters. Let us know what you want to hear, because now that we don't have the Mandalorian, what are we going to talk about? Guess what? It's a surprise. We got lots
deep dive.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also,
the novels.
Also, make sure you know that we are here hosted by the Pangeekery podcast. Please check out some of the other shows. Nerdtastic is at 7 p.m. tomorrow. They'll be talking Transformers, and I love me some Transformers. Monday, Geek Beasts at 7:30. Tuesday, Pots and Pangeekery. And that's a cooking show. Which
is pretty funny.
That's actually better than I thought it would be. I mean, when you hear the title, it's like, okay, that could be good. You're like, oh, that could be good. But when you actually see it, it's like, oh, no, this is good stuff. I'm not taking a knock at it. I love it. But when I first heard it, I was like, but then the pun worked for me, Pots and Pangeekery, and then it just kept getting better. Yeah, it's great stuff. Pots
I'm here for a pun.
Is that I love that show. Yes. So yeah, that's actually before we head out, where can they find you, Andy?
You can find me at Chinese. What? Can you hear me?
Where can they find you?
You can find me at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms, and I'm the Chinese Pirate on Facebook.
And where can they find you?
Why are you doing a happy dance?
Because I didn't. I thought I was going to get disconnected for a second. And I was like, yes, I can finish.
It's tradition. Which the other tradition. So I'm not bleeding, but I did get an eyelash in my eye that I finally got out. I don't know if you noticed that. I was like, hang on, like a minute there. Anyway,
I thought you were like twitching at one of my comments for something. You know.
Oh my god, I was like, what is going on? And finally, I got the eyelash down. I was like, oh, thank God. And then I wasn't going to mention that, and then I did. So I can be found on Facebook at Hot Nerd Girl, Twitter at Hot Nerd Girl, the Hot Nerd. Wait, no, Hot _ Nerd _ Girl, Instagram at Hot Nerd Girl Official. There you go.
And where can they find you, Lexi?
Go ahead and find me on Instagram at Kaleidoscope Creature. I don't have anything else because I am a feral geek who likes to just mostly live offline. But thank you guys for, again, always, like I tell you every week, thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
What about you, Benja?
I am Mr. Benja. You can find me at my website, mrbenja.com. I'll fix. You know what? I keep saying when I fix it up on my New Year's resolutions that I actually do New Year's resolutions. I'm actually gonna tighten up the graphics on level 3 and make that website a thing, more interactive and everything. But all my links are there, so you can go there and check me out. And that does it pretty much for us. Oh God.
And Benja, are you selling any of your paintings for the Christmas season at all, or?
I'm always selling my art and T-shirts and things. This is one of them from the 8-Bit Cubist. That's a little art project I've had going on for the past several years. So yeah, all that's available at the 8bitcubist.com. But thanks for the plug, Andy. All right, yes, but you can find me at mrbenja.com. All my relevant links are there if you're interested in anything like that. As I said, this is the Pod Squadron podcast, and Andy, I didn't remember. Oh, here it is. I always have to read this thing. I haven't memorized it yet, but we're about to be out of here. I want to thank everybody once again. Hang around for a few minutes more, and we'll raid Gary Whitta. But before you go, remember to like, subscribe, and follow on the social media outlets we mentioned, which is basically all the important ones. And remember that the truths that we cling to depend on our own point of view, and only the Sith deal in absolutes. That is us for the Pod Squadron podcast show for this week and for 2020. We will see you in 2021. It has been a great ride, and we will continue further next year. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
Bye.
I'll do my dance again while we go out.
Happy New Year.